going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. Let's start with some scores from the MLB last night. We had the Cubs over the Tigers 7-6. Trying to hang on to that last wildcard spot. Phillies over the Giants 10-4. 7 really good innings for Aaron Nola. Into the park home for Bryce Harper on that one. Pirates over the Cardinals 11-1. Cardinals, they are god awful this year. Wow, they are a major disappointment. A couple of teams like that. Mets over the Braves 10-4. Couple home runs for the Mets now. And DJ Stewart, he had got 5 home runs. It was like 20 at bats. He's been playing really well for the Mets lately, and Rafael Ortega too is playing right well. He hit a home run on that one. So Mets blow out the Braves 10-4. Mets been playing better. They won like 7 of 9, I think, or something like that. Or maybe not 7 of 9, maybe like 6 of 8 or 6 or 6 of 2 to 8 or something. They're playing better. Still like 7 games out of the wild card. And their team obviously is not good. And they got 2 more against the Braves, who have the best record in baseball. But I guess you never know. I mean, I've written them off so many times in the Mets, but you never know. Astros beat the Red Sox 9-4. 2 homers for Trace McCormick in that one. Mariners over the White Sox 14-2. It's 7 games in a row. Seattle's won. They are red hot. They're averaging almost 8 runs a game in that span. They are red hot. Now 70-55. 15 games over 500. Athletics over the Royals 6-4. You got Diamondbacks over the Texas Rangers 4-3 in 11 innings in extra innings now on. Tommy Pham 2 double in the 11th gives Arizona the win. Padres over the Marlins 6-2. And Red Angels game got postponed. Looking at the divisional standings, Baltimore still 3 games up on Tampa and American League East. Minnesota also 6 games up on the Guardians and the American League Central. Texas divisionally is down to like 1.5 over Houston and just 2 games over Seattle. The Seattle Mariners are 2 games out of the American League West. They are on fire now, and Houston's right there as well. National League East, Braves, of course, lead Philly by 12.5 games. Milwaukee leads the Cubs by 2.5 games. The Reds by 4 games. National League West Dodgers have opened up a 12-game lead over the San Francisco Giants in the wild card. In the American League, Devils still a first wild card spot. Second wild card spot is Houston. They're 4 games back of Tampa for the first wild card spot. Last wild card spot is Seattle. They're a half game out of the second wild card spot. Toronto is a game out of the last wild card. Boston is 4 games out. The National League, the Phillies are the first wildcard spot. The Cubs moved up to the second wildcard spot nationally. They're a half game ahead of San Francisco. They're 2.5 games back of Philadelphia. San Francisco is the last team in the National League. They're a half game ahead of the Cubs. 15 half game behind the Cubs. Arizona's a half game out. So Arizona's, who has they're playing well in the beginning of the year. Struggled for a while. They've won 8 of 10. They're playing a lot better. We're actually going to have Sean Jarrett, who's been on my show before. He's going to call in, actually. See if the call-in worked. Adam's a speaker. Twitter Space is acting a little funny, but I'm not sure if he got it yet. It looks like he did. Sean, are you there? Sorry, my Twitter is being weird. We're trying to get Sean on. The Arizona's a half game up. They're playing better. You got Cincinnati at a game out. The Marlins are a game and a half out. San Diego 5.5 games out. And then you got the Mets at 6.5 games out. Mets are hanging on a cliff and playing a little better. It's weird they're playing better after they gunned their team. They got a bunch of minor leaguers, and Sean's no longer in this Twitter so I'm not sure he's coming on. He's having some technical problems. I'm not sure if it's on his end or my end or both, but I'll keep you posted if he's able to pop on the speaker. For now, some more news. Wander Franco was placed on administrative leave by baseball. The MLB, the United States and the Dominican Republic is investigating him. Of course, he's some pictures with some underage girls. Very, very disturbing, and I'm hoping it's not true. But I'm going to leave it at that. But he's on MLB placed him on administrative leave. The San Francisco Giants, they picked up Paul DeYoung, who was just DFA by Toronto, was just 3 for 44, so just joined Toronto after they got him in a trade. The trade left from the Cardinals. 18 days later was DFA'd. Okay, he's only hitting 211 this year, 13 homers, 33 RBIs, at 634 OPS. He has really struggled offensively. Been a decent defender at short, but he's really struggled offensively for the last several years. Really ever since he signed that 6-year extension with St. Louis after that big rookie year a bunch of years ago. He joined the San Francisco Giants, so see if he can possibly help them on them, as they are in a tight pennant race. They are running the last wildcard for the National League. And the White Sox owner Jerry Reinsdorf said that the White Sox could look to relocate after their lease on their stadium ends after 2029, 6 years from now, and could be Nashville. So Jerry Reinsdorf really isn't that great of an owner. Even with the Bulls, I mean, he's all right, cool. You had Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, you won 6 championships, and then he broke that team up because he thought they were getting older, which I still don't agree on. I would at least try to get a sub championship. No, every year you had Jordan and Pippen together, you won a championship. Or if you're able to bring them both back and still have that core together, you just keep trying until someone beats you. And ever since Shore retired, the Bulls have done nothing. Absolutely nothing. Since he broke up that team, basically fired Phil Jackson and hired some other random assistant coach. And, they've done nothing. They went to the conference finals a couple of times with Derrick Rose and Tom Thibodeau was the coach. Well, they've done nothing. This is since 1998 when they won their 6th championship with Michael Jordan. And the White Sox have not been good in ages. They won a championship in 2005. Since then, they've really done nothing. Going on to hockey, Tampa Lightning extend Brandon Hagel on an 8-year extension for $52 million. Is a good young player for them. Tampa has tried to lock up as many guys as they can. This run, of course, they've had a lot of success recently. He won back-to-back Stanley Cups 2 years ago, lost in the Cup final. This past year, of course, lost in the first round. But try to keep as many pieces as they can. Of course, they've been over the Stanley Cup for years now. So they've lost a couple of guys that Brandon Hagel will be staying on long term. The Orlando Magic signed Mac McClung to partially guaranteed deal. He's a former late second-round pick or undrafted free agent. He's been mainly a G League player so far in his career, but he won the dunk contest last year. That's how he got a lot of fame. He was a top high school star. He went viral for some crazy dunks and hasn't really done anything in the NBA. He's basically been a G League player for a couple of years. He was most recently in Philly. Now he's in Orlando on a partially guaranteed deal, so he'll probably have a chance to possibly make the Orlando Magic roster. So the Indianapolis Colts have allowed star disgruntled running back John Matera to seek a trade. Of course, he requested a trade a few weeks back. Or George Mercer, of course, said not doing it. Then he had his whole quote, if I died, and will miss me, that whole thing. No, he spent more money on a whale, trying to save a whale that was dying, ended up dying, than he's willing to spend on his own star player. After saying he was not going to trade him, he's allowed his camp to seek a trade. Probably the Miami Dolphins are expected to be interested. Of course, they have Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson right now. They have a full running back group, but Taylor would be an immediate upgrade. They were interested in Dalvin Cook. They tried to sign him, couldn't quite get it done. So now they've moved on to trying to sign Jonathan Taylor. Terry McLaurin got hurt. The Commanders star receiver, he got hurt in the preseason game last night. He had turf toe, but experts came back negative. He could play week 1. So keep your eyes on that, especially if he's on your fantasy team. But this isn't too bad. Jack expected the jab of the Seattle Seahawks star rookie receiver who took in the first round. He had toe surgery today, but he could still play in week 1. Nick the Seattle got DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett there as well. Baker Mayfield has one starting quarterback for Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He will start week 1. My take on it is, on one hand, Tampa's not good. They're not a good team. The roster is old and not that good. I think they'll be in last place in the worst division in football in the NFC South. Baker's horrible. I think he might be the worst starting quarterback in the entire round of foul. I saw a stat. He's the first quarterback ever to start for 4 different teams within 2 calendar years. Because I think September of 22. No, it was like 2 years ago. He started week 1 for Cleveland. Then last year, week 1, he started for Carolina. Then he started for the Rams towards the end of last year. Now he's starting in September for the Bucks. So I don't think he's good. You think, all right, you drafted Kyle Trask in the second round 2 years ago. He sat behind probably the greatest quarterback ever in Tom Brady for 2 years. I think he would have learned something. I know the roster isn't that good. They do have 2 great receivers in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. A young back who flashed last year with Shaw Wagner. We'll see what he's got. Other than that, the offensive line is horrible. The defense is getting old. Todd Bowles is an abysmal head coach. You got a new first-year player called Dave Canales, who I do like. He was the Seahawks quarterback's coach last year. We'll see what happens with him. All right, if you're going to suck, you might as well give this kid a shot. Being said, Tampa is in the worst division in football. They won at 8-9 last year. I'm not sure if 8-9 will win this year because New Orleans is at least sort of kind of good. Carolina could be a sleeper if Bryce Young plays well. So you might need to win 9 games, but still 9-8 should, in a lot of cases, doesn't get you in the playoffs, and that might win you the division. So maybe I think maybe just maybe, if the roster steps up around Baker, maybe they could squeak out 9 wins and sneak into and steal the division again. And also, if by like the end of training camp, if this kid who drafted in the second round 2 years ago sat behind Tom Brady for 2 years, isn't, at least by the end of training camp, hasn't solidified himself as a starter, he clearly isn't that good. I didn't like him coming out. I thought, all right, he's got a talented arm. So does so many other guys. He's very erratic. No, little turnover prone. He's not very mobile, which is a big knock on quarterbacks nowadays. I don't think there's a lot there. And the fact that he can't even be out Baker Mayfield sitting behind Tom Brady for 2 years is concerning. So I agree with all that good. I think both, of course, will play this year. I just think Baker is going to be benched at some point, whether it's because Tampa Bay is 2-9 and realize, okay, we got 5-6 games left. We suck. We're better off, just evaluating this kid, and then if he's good, all right, we'll give him a shot next year. If not, we'll get rid of him and we'll draft either Caleb Williams or Drake May or whatever top quarterback they can get in the first round next year. Or Baker just beyond awful to the point where they're like, we can't run this guy out there, and by week 6 they put Kyle Trask in. Because it's like, I can't deal with the horribleness of this guy. But I do think Trask will play at some point this year. It might be again by week 4, 5, or 6 if Baker is beyond awful, which is possible. He's very bad. Or if let's say he's like not that good, but not to the point where like Kyle Trask, the guy you don't have confidence in, should replace him. But like I said, you're 2-10, you're out of the race, you suck. You're like, all right, let's just give this guy a shot for a few games. All right, not much else to go over here. We got the PGA and PIF deal, of course, with the Live Tour to merge. It's not actually finalized yet, but Jim Monahan, who spoke out for the first time since he had that health scale, kept him out of commission for a few weeks after the whole thing happened. He says he's confident the deal will be finalized by December 31st. He was confident by the end of the calendar year that deal will be finalized. And we'll talk some Monday Night Raw. I'm going to recap that, and then I'm going to have a quick announcement, and I'm going to sign off. There wasn't too much to talk about today. On Raw, we had tag team match between the New Day and then the new team of Matt Riddle and Drew McIntyre. And the Viking Raiders interfered. And then, they attacked both teams, and Drew McIntyre ran out of the ring. And backstage, Matt Riddle was like, dude, this is working out pretty well. And then McIntyre was like, no, this isn't working out. Then New Day came by. I was like, guys, don't cut yourself out. Guys are pretty good. why don't we do this again in 2 weeks? And they're like, oh, why don't you call yourselves? I think he calls Nick Bro. Like the whole because McIntyre and when it was the original Bro, he says Bro a lot. Whole play on words of McLovin with McDonald's, and McIntyre wasn't that enthused. And we're asking, what do you think? And McIntyre gave him like a annoyed look and walked away. So didn't say no. So we'll see. Chad Gable did beat Gunther in the Intercontinental Championship match, but in a count out, so Gunther keeps the title. So Chad Gable is really underrated. He's really good. He's obviously a phenomenal athlete. He's a former Olympian, for crying out loud. So hopefully they have another gets another title shot down the line. We had a promo from Shinsuke Nakamura, and it was in Japanese, but you had the English subtitle. He says like what he whispered stuff around his ear week before was he knows about his back and how he's had a lot of back injury. It was a really good promo. And then they did an interview around. He said, I have a lumbar. I have 2 fractures in my lumbar spine. He's like he's right. I don't know how much longer I'm going to do this. And then he called up Nakamura after that. So should be a really good match for World Heavyweight title at Payback. Rhea Ripley defeated Kingston Ray via submission. Then Raquel Rodriguez has come out because she's been dying to get her hands on Rhea Ripley, but she's been injured. And she came out, started like limping with her crutch. Rhea Ripley and Dom were laughing, but then she throws the crutch at Rhea and then sort of attacking her. She ran to the ring and said, I'm medically cleared. Talk to Adam Pearce. I'm going to fight you. I'm going to fight you at Payback for the title. So that should be a fun match. Then the Miz came out and was saying, oh, Ellen Knight's not on my level. I'm not going to fight. I'm going to fight somebody who's better than him. He called Akira Tozawa. And then, LA Knight came out. And then the whole match happened. And then after the distraction by LA Knight, Miz got rolled up by Tozawa and lost the match. Miz was arguing with the referee after the match. But then he got hit with a BFT by LA Knight. So their rivalry continues. Hopefully those two fight at Payback, which is a week from Saturday. So got about a week and a half until that. Becky Lynch was cutting a promo. Trish Stratus and her old friends always Stark came out and interrupt her, and they exchanged. They joined back and forth. Becky Lynch is going to fight Trish Stratus in a steel cage match at Payback. And women's tag team match, Chelsea Green and her new tag team partner, Piper Nevin. Of course, she made herself her partner and made herself tag team champion, but just broke into Adam Pearce's office. Beat Katana Chance and Kaden Carter in a tag team match. Piper Nevin now did all the work on that one. And of course, the main story, first, started off with Sami Zayn coming out. Then all from the Judgment Day interrupt, looked like they're about to attack him. And Sami Zayn was like, you think I'd come alone? Of course, Raw was in Quebec, so Sami Zayn's from Quebec, Canada, so they gave him a big ovation. And then he called out his tag team partner and close friend, who was torn from injury, and also a Quebec native. That's how the two became friends. They're friends in real life. Kevin Owens returned, and they fought off the Judgment Day. Of course, the crowd loved that. So they have a tag team match between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, who of course are the tag team champs. And any two members of Judgment Day, of course, Finn Balor and Priest have been having some issues. Rhea was like, you guys have to figure it out. Dom will have to go get ready for my match. And they showed up, and first KO and Sami Zayn came out, and then all of a sudden Rhea Ripley comes out screaming at Balor and Priest, like, you guys have a team, like you two have to figure it out. And then they did, and then the match actually ended on a disqualification. Actually, no, they started attacking KO and Zayn, and then Cody Rhodes came out to save the day. And he was like, we're not doing this. We're doing a 6-man tag. And I did. And Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens beat the Judgment Day. What happened was JD McDonough came out. He tried to throw the briefcase to Priest. Awful throw. It looked like Baker Mayfield out there. Threw it right to Cody Rhodes, and then bashed Priest over the head, which led to the 6-man tag between Dom, Priest, and Balor at Judgment Day against Rhodes, and then Zayn and Owens, and Rhodes, Zayn and Owens picked up the win. crowd, of course, loved that. Right, no podcast tomorrow. Celebrating my mom's birthday, so I'm taking the day off. I most likely will have a podcast on Thursday. So get ready for that. And then no podcast on Friday because I'm going back to school. And then I'm planning to come back Monday, the 28th, and do my NFL preview. Much for all the guests from that. And then Thursday's actually going to be the season 3 series finale of my show. We're moving up. We're keeping at it. Just trying to keep plugging away and keep making my way to the top of my field. And then the plan is to have the first episode of season 4 on Monday. But I'll clarify all that Thursday. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.